is suitable for general viewing.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's exactly 13 minutes past 8 o'clock. My name is Faisal Kassim and welcome to the Live Real Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, our beloved viewers back at home, Kenya has been hit, or rather we were hit by the worst terrorist activity or act that has ever faced this beloved nation and the region by extension, that has cost more than 400 lives, and of course many are still recovering in different hospitals, particularly in Kilifi County. I'm talking about the Shakahola incident. Thereafter, His Excellency the President William Samoei Ruto came out and appointed a 19-member task force committee to look into the review and regularization of the religious institutions in this country. And tonight, we are privileged and honored to have one of the task force members, Sheikh Abdisalam Sheikh Muhammad, in his own capacity, not representing the task force, just to tell us what exactly are some of his experiences when this task force was working throughout the process. They just concluded with Nairobi collecting public opinion or public views. That was on the 8th of August 2023 at the KICD, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. It's an event that has shocked the nation, shocked the world, and the President has decided to take action on it. Some of the men who were tasked by the President to look into the matter is Sheikh Abdisalam Sheikh Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me here.
It's an honor to have you
tonight. Thank you very much.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. Habibi, I just gave but a very brief interview, introduction on the matter when you were starting. Probably you can tell us from your own perspective and some of your colleagues that you are sitting together in this task force looking into the whole review and regularization of this religious institution. Probably you can tell us like what may have informed the whole task force decision as was instructed by the President.
Okay. Thank you very much, Faisal, for having me here tonight. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah. I think first of all, we thank the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this very great opportunity tonight. And I also take this opportunity to thank Horizon TV and by extension Jamia Masjid for seeing it right to have such an institution for the purposes of actually giving the Muslims an opportunity to follow news and get other information through a platform that is community friendly. So I want to thank you for that first. And then secondly, as you stated, yes, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, has formed a task force for the purposes of reviewing the legislative and regulatory framework governing religious organizations. This task force actually came on the heels of what happened at Shakahola, where many Kenyans lost their life in very disturbing circumstances, and essentially the initial findings is that someone who actually used the name of religion is suspected to have used that opportunity or that message to convince or to lure his followers into going to that extent of actually sacrificing their own life or dying. So that is very horrific, and I know it has really shocked the country and many of our citizens in this country.
No.
So the understanding is that this person who actually led these people to commit that kind of death to themselves, or even maybe through other means, used the platform of religion to convince these people. And as we know, religious organizations are registered under an act of parliament, I think it's Cap 108 of the laws of Kenya, where societies, where religious organizations come under.
Societies Act.
Yes, Societies Act are registered. And therefore, I think the whole objective, basically, is to find out the extent to which maybe there may exist gaps in the legislative and regulatory framework governing religious organizations, which may then give those professing or those actually leading such organizations into leading their followers to extreme kind of tendencies where they may actually lose their life, or not only lose their life, but even at times also come up with other tendencies, such as refusing to go for medical attention through the formal medical institutions, or even going for education. So basically, it may lead the followers to such extreme circumstances.
And the act was regarded as one of the worst terrorist attack to have ever happened.
Definitely, definitely, it's quite horrific. It's quite shocking to us. So actually, yes, Kenyans are religious people, irrespective of which faith they may practice. Actually, majority are considered to be religious people, but could there be a situation where the religion can be misused to lead to such situations? And I think that is what we are trying now to establish and then mitigate. Basically, we are now thinking about the future and seeing that this has happened. Something like this should never happen in our
So how do you protect it from happening again in the future?
Yeah, okay. Right? So I think that is the exercise the task force is undertaking at the moment. And one of the first entry points actually is first, let me say that the task force is guided by terms of reference, which have been drawn to guide its work. And therefore, the first actually entry point to this exercise was to interact with Kenyans, to get their views as to what they see is right and what they see is wrong, and what can be remedied and how can it be remedied. So that is the first actually exercise.
Public participation.
Yes, the task force has undertaken so far, whereby the task force has almost now covered the entire republic by visiting
all the 47 counties, right?
Visiting all the 47 counties of the Republic of Kenya.
And collecting views from the people,
yes,
right?
now giving Kenyans an opportunity to interact and to give views on what they see to be the situation, where things may have gone wrong, how those things can be remedied, and now going forward, what are the maybe
possible potential solutions or measures that could be
taken to make sure
to avoid that.
Yeah, and I would like to mention that Kenya have been very enthusiastic about the opportunity to present their views.
Wow.
So far.
We cannot wait to see the results.
Yeah,
But again, as you're building up to the whole conversation, of course, from your experience, right, you've gone through some of the counties. To my understanding, you divided into teams, and you divided the whole country to be covered by those teams, right? So you visited a couple of counties together with your team. So what are some of the common responses on the matter? You know, things that really stood out for you, without mentioning them in particular. You just said Kenyans who are very enthusiastic to come and present their reports, right? So what are some of the things that really stood for you? Maybe was it numbers? Was it in terms of the logistics and the facilitation? Was it in terms of how passionate they were speaking about that? What are some of the things that really stood out for you throughout this process?
Okay, thank you, Faisal. I think the way I said, Kenyans were very excited about interacting with the task force members.
Yeah.
The attendance, for example, has been very commendable in terms of the numbers that actually attended in the various sittings we had so far. I know in some of the halls, I think we have seen situations where the halls that were prepared were almost full to the brim.
No.
So Kenyans came in their large numbers to give their views, both as leadership of organizations, professional institutions and persons, and also the general public. I cannot also fail to mention that also we had a very good opportunity of interacting with the various leadership in every county that we have visited. Whether it is the county government through the governor, or whether it is the national government through the county commissioner and the other administrators. And all these teams also have actually given the task force very insightful and valuable contributions.
That I'm sure we're going to read it in the report once after you submit it to the president.
Okay.
That's when we're going to make it public, inshallah. Thank you. Sheikh, of course, every process must have its own fair share of challenges. What are some of the challenges that you guys came through while doing this process, moving across counties? I mean, what are some of the notable challenges? Some people would tell you, hey, during campaign period, sema gari likwama, you know, katikati ya safari tukalala kwa msitu and all that. Even the media and the journalists, sometimes you have challenges doing this job. Tasema tumeanza show lakini mic ikakwama.
Yes.
Ikakata kufanya kazi.
Yeah, okay. I think on the whole, I may say that it has been very exciting also to the task force members and the researchers and other team who have been there. Of course, in the task force, they are very prominent and respected religious leaders have been there. So it could be at times, you know, some of the places where we may have covered with, you know, long distances traveling, maybe at times. I know when we were visiting some place like Shakahola, I think most of the people were in a bus, which for some maybe was a bit uncomfortable. But I think, in my view, the team actually enjoyed each and every part of the tour, and we have not left any part of our country, but we have covered it. Personally, my team went to some of the farthest areas. I have been to Lodwar, where we got views from our people in Lodwar. Turkana County, for that matter.
Well, some of them are traditions.
Yeah,
right?
of course, very interesting. And have gone to Marsabit, which is also one of the farthest point, almost. I think almost 700 kilometers, if not more, from Nairobi. I have been to Mandera, which is also one of the farthest point.
Border counties.
Yeah. So and other members who are with us, and they have gone to other places also. Sometimes even we could travel at night to make sure we discharge our duty the following morning as early as possible. So I think on the whole, I can say that there were more positivities than any other negativities with regard to the engagements we had so far. The national administration, or what was called provincial administration, I think was our coordinating arm on the ground, and other religious leaders. And I think they did a commendable job in terms of mobilization, because in trying to identify who are the stakeholders in any county, then the people on the ground normally have a better understanding. So they will map the stakeholders on the ground, and then they will invite them officially to come, in addition to the general public who actually just walked in and presented their
because I assume it was something public. It was public information about where
yes.
It was gazetted actually.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, and an advert was placed, and the dates were fixed, and I think many Kenyans were eager and allowed to participate.
Interesting. Sheikh, you said you moved into the rooms, and of course the local administration helped in mobilization, but I'm sure, of course, maybe the Secretariat played a key role in terms of talking or rather coordinating with the local government or the local administration for as far as mobilization is concerned. And from what you have said, you have cut across the country. You have crisscrossed the nation in trying to get views from everybody, right? So then my question would be, how did the task force ensure proper representation from the diverse Kenyan community? What are some of the measures, right, that you as a task force you took? Because right now you've crisscrossed the country, 47 counties done, right? And you're done. You're about to retreat and go back, or maybe read or research and develop a report, right? So then how did you ensure that every person has been represented and heard in this country?
Thank you very much, Faisal. As I said earlier, actually the activity was guided by the public notice which we have placed in the newspapers.
No.
And in that, I think the people, the categories of people whose opinion we were seeking were actually mentioned in the advert that was placed in the national dailies, and that was the same information that was conveyed to the mobilization teams on the ground, and therefore they have sent invitations through that, and they made sure that that invitation actually is inclusive and as diverse as possible. So actually that is what happened, and in our halls we could see actually Kenyans of diverse backgrounds or beliefs have actually been coming to our halls and make their presentations. Sometimes we may consider some mainstream religious bodies, and there are others which are not very much pronounced, but I think quite a number did their presence or attended those functions. In the coast we had the Kaya, for example.
Really? Oh, yeah. The traditions. Traditionalists.
Yeah, and other places we had, I think, others in western part of the country, and in other places. So for me, I think everyone with a belief saw it right to come and say what they want to be included in this review exercise.
So you did an amazing and fantastic job.
So that was very much assured, actually, in terms of inclusivity, taking into consideration the diversity of our people.
So no one will dare say that they were not represented in the task force?
Well,
right now?
I think because these were public invitations and dates have been put, and I think Kenyans were free to come. So for me, I think there is no really reason for anyone to say I didn't present my views. The opportunity, the chance has been granted, and I think where we, even as we left, we left our other contacts, the email address, which was also in the national advert, where anybody who could not reach any hall or any of the venues, then could actually still reach out to the task force through the email address that was presented.
That was provided.
Yes.
Wow, that is so thoughtful of you.
Yeah.
And amazing. When you cut across, right?
Yeah.
Interdenominational,
Yes.
Kabisa, Pakachin,
Yes.
cutting across.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sheikh Abdisalam. And that is how we are due for our fast break, our beloved viewers. Sana for keeping it. I don't know. I would really like to know and understand. Sheikh Abdisalam is here with us, and he's part of the task force. Did we expect to be in the task force, right? Or did he just wake up? If they say, I don't know how old you are, but I got my senses when we were with the second president of this country. And some of the stories I heard was that you could get appointment while sleeping or driving, and you'll also get fired while sleeping or driving. So was this the case with Sheikh Abdisalam? Did he expect to be appointed as a task force member? And if yes, how did that make him feel? I mean, imagine the president knows your name and appoints you the task force. All right. So what are the expectations? What then comes into your mind? And then after that, you know, while you're in the process, is it anything close to what you had envisioned? Right. I mean, that's what I want to find out from Sheikh Abdisalam. What do you find out? We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, and of course, get our apologies from Sheikh Muhammad, who was supposed to be with us tonight. But again, he sends his apologies. But we still have Sheikh Abdisalam, and we're getting to hear what really transpired. What are some of his experiences from the process of collecting views throughout the 47 counties? Please do not touch that dial. We're going to be back in a moment.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
The best gift you can give to your kids is education. Baitul Hikmah Integrated Group of Schools is a faith-based international school that offers an Islamic integrated British curriculum. We provide quality education to our students while instilling Islamic morals, values and practices. Our curriculum includes Cambridge IGCSE, digital learning, modern languages and Islamic integrated studies steered by a qualified and experienced TSC registered tutors. We offer a secure and serene learning environment that promotes development of knowledge, skills, understanding, confidence and creativity to our students. To strike a balance, we have an ample playground for the children and strong extracurricular activities. The school has a mosque and madrasa for the students' spiritual upliftment. We're located at 6 Parklands Avenue off City Park Drive opposite Regal Plaza on Tazza Lane. September 2023 intake is ongoing. For more information, contact us on 0732 854 647, info@baitulhikmah.sc.ke or www.baitulhikmah.sc.ke. Baitul Hikmah, a home of wisdom.
Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما والذين يبيتون لربهم سجدا وقياما والذين يقولون ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on HorizonTV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for keeping it live real talk. My name is Faisal Kassim and I'm in studio with Sheikh Abdisalam Sheikh Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. In Somali they call him Jumba Adher or Abdi,
Adher or paternal uncle and Abdi for maternal uncle.
MashaAllah, welcome so much.
Thank you so much.
How do you address? Is it Adher or Abdi?
Adher I think will be. Because I'm neither of them, but Adher is like an uncle.
That's a good one, Sheikh. Now, you lived more during Moi's tenure, and you see, you experience how he was appointing, promoting, and demoting members of the government, be it ministers, be it directors, be it PSs, right? You saw all that. So this time, of course, again, we're seeing a lot of appointments. So for you, Sheikh Abdisalam, is it something that you anticipated? Is it something that you knew it was coming? Or how was it? How did it happen?
Thank you, Faisal. For me, it was a pleasant surprise, maybe so to speak. Also, I feel it's actually a fulfillment of a kind of lifelong dream. So, you know, because I think all through my life I have been in the religious space, or for that was the Muslim religious space, and I have done quite a bit at the local and regional level. So for me now to be part of a national exercise, which again is aimed at adding value or improving our religious kind of conduct and you know, regulation, to me that is a dream come true. So with regard to the appointment, I think you remember both myself and Sheikh Dor, we were in the last group that was appointed about maybe 10 days or 2 weeks after the first team that was appointed. And so for me, I feel maybe because of my service in the past to the community and you know, the religious space. I think someone somewhere must have taken note of that
Mashallah.
and recommended my appointment. So whoever that is, I want to just give my appreciation for honoring me, and to His Excellency also the President for putting that trust in me. And I just want to assure them that we'll do everything within our means to make sure that we take this task to its logical conclusion.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
Inshallah. We pray for you.
Thank you.
We're here for you. We support you. If you want us to come and give our views again, we'll definitely do that. Now, Sheikh, of course, after the appointment, maybe some expectations, some dreams. You said it didn't come true. So
okay.
I don't know what was in your mind when the announcement came. What were you looking at? What were you expecting? And did you meet your expectation?
You see, such appointments actually are actually guided by the terms of reference.
No.
So you cannot actually create your own. You have to be within.
You're guided by the TR.
You have to work within the framework of the TR, which are actually very elaborate. Therefore, my expectation actually is that from the experience which I had, and the again experience and exposure I'm getting through this interaction, I will be in a position to make valuable contribution to an outcome that to me will serve both the interest of the religious fraternity and also the government.
No, nice, inshallah. Definitely, we pray for you, and we wish you the very best. Sheikh, as a community, the Muslims, we have been quite passive, especially to do with matters to do with the nation. And I don't know, is it because maybe in some instances we've been treated as second-class citizens, you know, because Sheikh Ibrahim Lithami, because of that, every time he gives a khutbah, he always insists that, you know what, I'm a Muslim by choice. You know, Allah decreed and Alhamdulillah gave me the name of being a Muslim, and I'm a Kenyan by decree of Allah. So I'm unapologetically Kenyan Muslim, right? So because of that, Muslims for a very long time, because of being treated as second-class citizens in many instances, like citizenship, like matters to do with passports, identification and all that, it's a tedious process. So for that, some Muslims, you know, have been feeling marginalized, so to speak, and thus many at times they don't take part in such activities, especially when collecting views. They don't take part because sometimes we feel this country, they do not take us for who we are, for who we're supposed to be. When it comes to laws, they are more guided on, you know, conventional, but again, they're not cater to the interests of the Muslims. So for that reason, maybe sometimes they are passive. They don't take it with seriously it deserves. From your experience in visiting the counties, what was the Muslims' outcome and participation in this? How would you grade it?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Faisal. Well, it's true, yes. I think generally the Muslim community, we can describe it as passive when it comes to public participation in matters, you know, that may affect our governance and, you know, our legislative or policy issues in our country. And I think this is basically as a result of a hangover, so to speak, of the experiences we may had in the past. In the sense that, you know, we matured from colonialism to a kind of, I think, government that was in a formation stage, to a kind of regimes that were so centralized, and then going to the 2010 constitutions,
yeah.
and the space now it has opened for the Kenyan people, actually, in terms of people being at the center of decision making. I think this is the kind of the thinking that we must now accept, that we have now shifted from where the government used to decide purely for the public to a situation where now the public must actually input,
take part in the decision
in each and every maybe legislative policy and other project programs that are being implemented. So I think on that note, we seem to be still living in the old past, that we're still waiting for the government to
make the
decisions for us. So I think we Muslims, we have a long way to go in my view, and generally to Kenyans. This is an opportunity we must actually get hold of. We must present ourselves, and we must present ourselves unconditionally, so to speak, because at times Kenyans may want to go and present views and expect to be given something, you know, for going to a venue or for you know, this kind of thing. So I think that culture needs to change. So specifically, I think with the Muslim community, we need to be alive to the fact that now decisions being made very much depend on the public participation. If you are missing, then whatever laws or legislation or whatever policy that will be decided, then at the end of the day is going to affect you, whether you like it or not. So take part, give your views, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it.
You have to be there.
Yes.
Stand to be counted.
So far, I think we are below the expected standards. We need to pull up our socks, so to speak.
And stand to be counted.
Yeah, and stand to be counted.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting. Sheikh, now, because we have like 10 more minutes to the end of the program, right? Your engagement, you've just finished the public participation with the people. So, one, I'd want to ask you, so there's like anxiety, you know, we've done this, we've submitted our views. The task force is going to retreat, look into other sources of information, maybe benchmark with other countries or other places, maybe, we don't know what's going to happen, and prepare a report to submit to His Excellency the President. That the President now may decide to take it to Parliament, right, or issue an executive order, or in one or another just process now the implementation of it. So there's some level of anxiety around that process, right? So as sitting in your own personal capacity, right, what could you speak to this anxiety? What can you tell the anxious people, right, that's yet to come, inshallah?
Okay. Thank you very much, Faisal. I think at this point in time, it will be very difficult actually to talk about what the outcome will be, or you know, what to expect. We are just at the first stages of the whole process, at the moment. But I want to assure the listeners and Kenyans and the viewers that actually the task force is composed of very learned, respected, you know, eminent Kenyan personnel, both from mostly from the religious community and also from other professions. We have quite a number of senior legal practitioners also in the task force, and I think in the wisdom of the government in bringing such a team together was to make sure that at the end an outcome that will not maybe jeopardize party, so to speak, the interest of any party is reached at. So it's a bit early to say what we expect or what to expect, but I think at the end of the day, we look forward to what normally I may call a kind of a win-win outcome, where the religious community and religious organizations actually will be able to see themselves in a space where they can continue practicing their faith, protecting their doctrine and practice, but in a manner that actually it does not lead to extreme situations where Kenyans actually, the life and property and the health and education, all that of Kenyans actually are protected. So I think that's where we'll be heading to. Even if there will be any legislation, it will make sure that it strikes a balance between this and of course all other recommendations. But for me, I feel it is a very important exercise and an intervention at the right time, because there are a lot of dynamics happening both locally and globally, and I think we need to prepare ourselves on how to face some of those challenges, including how do we prepare our children at young age and as they grow up on what is safe for them in terms of belief and in terms of life, and what may endanger their life, and how they can differentiate the two, how they can make that choice. So these are some of the things we'll be looking at, and at the end of the day, that may come into the teachings of the religious platform itself, or even maybe into the education and education sector.
Wow.
So I think going forward, I expect that quite worthwhile outcomes.
So we should wait.
Will be there.
And it's going to be worth the wait. We should wait, and it's going to be worth the wait.
That's right.
Amazing, amazing. Sheikh Abdisalam Sheikh Muhammad, thank you so much. Jazakallah khair for making time for us this evening. It was indeed a pleasure to get the wisdom from you. Maybe just 1 more minute for your parting shot before we call it a wrap. Right?
Okay. Thank you very much, Faisal, once again, and I want to say thank you to Horizon TV and for hosting me tonight. And mine is just to assure Kenyans that our government means well in this process, and it has put the process in safe hands, so to speak, and therefore rest assured that going forward we'll be able to continue enjoying our freedom of faith and worship and that, but at the same time within a framework where now we'll make sure that each and every believer and follower also enjoys the right to life and to property and to safety, and whatever we do actually does not compromise the national values and or the security, national security of our country. So thank you very much, and let's be patient and until we get the final report.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Barakallah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for making time for this evening.
Thank you very much. It has been great to be hosted by Horizon tonight.
Jazakallah khair. There's a saying in Nigeria, they say that wherever an old man sees well seated, the young person will not see even when he climbs the tallest tree or the tallest mountain, right? And having you tonight in the studio is such a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Oozing wisdom. Thanks so much, Sheikh Abdisalam.
Asante, sir.
Yes, that was Sheikh Abdisalam Sheikh Muhammad, a member of the Presidential Taskforce, to review and come up with measures that to review the legal framework of the religious organizations, and if possible then what are the proposals to see how better to make the situation if it does not suffice. That is, of course, we cannot speculate enough. We're just waiting to hear or to see or to read what they will come up with. And of course, as I said, let us wait, and it will be worth the wait. My name is Faisal Kassim, and thank you so much for keeping it live. Real Talk. See you next week, same place, same time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.